Kumusta? This is the dopamine guy, Mr. Adhd himself, and you are listening to my podcast, Mr. Adhd. If you have ADHD or someone you know has ADHD or you feel like you have ADHD, then this show is for you. Kaya kinig na! On our last episode, we spoke about the predominantly inattentive type of ADHD. Today, we are going to talk about the hyperactivity or the impulsivity or the H in the acronym ADHD. And now, just a disclaimer, guys, this podcast is for educational purposes only. So please consult a medical professional to help discuss your symptoms and get a proper diagnosis if needed. Here in the Philippines, in a classroom setting, kapag nakakita ka ng bata na malikot or maingay, initially, pwede kang sabihin na ikaw ay bibo, which is a good thing, right? But more often than not, pwede kang sabihin na maingay, pasaway, kiti-kiti, may bulati sa puwet. And of course, may ADHD. So, growing up, I think ito yung mga terms na nare-receive ko or how am I being referred to. I also am referred to as being a klutz or clumsy kasi it's either lagi ako nakakabasag ng pinggan, ng baso, nakahulog ng mga bagay-bagay, and idagdag mo na rin na lagi akong umuwi ng bahay minsan na nadapa, nadulas, may galos, nauntog, nahulog, etc., etc., etc. And looking back, I think isa to sa mga presentations ng hyperactivity when I was a kid. I also remember that I'm the type of kid na mahilig umakyat sa mga walls, sa mga dingding, sa mga kisame, sa mga bagong bahay or abandoned houses and buildings, sumasabit sa jeep, sa tricycle. I remember when I was, I think, around 10 to 12, sa probinsya, sa mountain province, umakyat ako ng puno. And then, biglang sabi ng pinsan ko na nanganak yung baboy. So, being the active and the chismoso, dali-dali akong bumaba sa puno without even realizing na meron palang sanga na nakatusok doon sa lupa. So there goes the accident. So I think, being a kid, I was accident prone, I would say. And apparently, those were the signs that I was hyperactive. But I think growing up, na-lesson yun dahil medyo sagana tayo sa palo at pinapagalitan, of course, for being makulit, for being magaslaw, for being clumsy. And growing up, I did feel na I really felt bad being mentioned or told na I am these qualities, no? So at some point, growing up, I changed and started to be not as hyper as I used to be. Habang tumatanda, the hyperactivity lessened in a way. Although during unguarded moments, especially during the times na may party, medyo rowdy, I think lumalabas yung pagiging hyperactive. Sa office, tahimik ako, and then during these events, when I become rowdy, nagugulat sila. And they would ask if I am drunk. And during those times, I think hindi pa ako lasing. And I also remember during a class back in college, one of my professors asked me, "Are you on drugs?" Definitely not on drugs, ma'am. Bawal. Anyways, so I think those were the signs of the subdued hyperactivity. And I think also one indication of the hyperactivity was the boundless, the endless energy. I work in the BPO industry, puyatan, wala akong problema. Even yung mga kasama ko, sessions sa coffee shop and all, I still have the energy to go on and on and on kahit sila pagod na. I think from sunup to sundown, wala akong problema with my energy. And that's why I'm also the designated driver. I have that energy na kaya kong mag-drive kahit tulog na lahat, basta kausapin ko yung sarili ko. So I'm talking and at the same time driving. Another indication of the hyperactivity in an adult setting would be during the times na you're confined to a meeting or to a classroom, perhaps a formal classroom setting. I find it really difficult to sit down. Alam mo yun, medyo may discomfort, pa ilang-ilang pa ang ingit-ingit, if that's the proper word for that. And if I can, I will go out. Pero more often than not, it's either I'm just writing down or doodling, especially during meetings. Na alam mo naman na sobrang boring minsan, di ba? Especially those long meetings. So I think those were how I coped with that boredom and that difficulty sitting down. And also thanks to the mobile phones, the cell phones, yung mga gadgets that could help us be entertained and matanggal yung effect of boredom and confinement in a meeting. More often than not, aside from that energy, I also feel restless. This is the problem I also experience during day offs, during weekends. I feel like I can't rest. I feel like I always want to go, walk, move, act out or whatever. And my definition of resting would be just lying down and make sure that I'm not moving. So definitely that's the ultimate rest that I'm looking for. Watching Netflix, reading books, of course lying down and tahimik dapat. So what they also say as part of the hyperactivity is the impulsivity in adult ADHD. So example of impulsive would be impatient. Yan. I hate waiting. I hate waiting in long lines. I hate waiting sa mga consultations with doctors, especially na they ask you to wait for 10 o'clock but darating sila 12 o'clock, right? Sorry, docs. But yeah, I really find that very tedious. I'm very impatient. At some point, I also have the tendency to interrupt people when they're talking. Siguro the impulsivity, the impatience of them finishing, especially if they're not making a point. I just want to cut them off and ask them if I can, where's the point? What are you trying to talk? What are you trying to say? But I know for a fact that this may be off-putting, medyo bastos. So I'm very conscious with this particular behavior. Aside from that, during unguarded moments, I have the tendency to give inappropriate comments. I'm very sarcastic, if unguarded especially. That's why I have the tendency to be just like quiet, especially kung hindi ko kilala yung mga tao. But definitely with my tribe, the close people around me, they know that I'm very sarcastic. And I think I can be a good stand-up comic if I can, or if I would like to try it at some point, So yun, aside from that, the impulsivity also is reflected in the financial aspect. Kaya nga sabi nila, some of the ADHD folks would have problems with managing finances. This, I was in a bit of denial because sabi ko, hindi naman ako impulsive. I don't see any purchases recent or whatever that I may consider impulsive. Now, looking back, I remember that I bought a condo impulsively. I also took out a 500,000 loan impulsively. And I also bought a hindi man expedition, but it's a Ford Explorer impulsively. So yeah, I'm not really impulsive, no. So yan yung mga manifestations and signs of hyperactivity / impulsivity in the adult and the workplace setting. Now, how can I forget one of the telltale signs of the hyperactive / impulsive ADHD type would be being talkative. Yes, I would consider myself talkative. Initially, I did not consider myself talkative. Although I know for a fact that I can talk endlessly any topic under the sun. Definitely, I don't have problems with that. But I love talking, I would say, to the right people. But because of changes in career plans, and I tried to adapt, and I later realized that I really am talkative, or at least I can be gregarious and quite spontaneous. That's why I became eventually an events host. I do public speaking. And why not, right? Make money out of being talkative. And of course, doing this podcast unscripted. So I rely on me being talkative. And I think that's something that I'm loving, at least with the symptom of being hyperactive. But anyways, those were the signs, at least my signs of being hyperactive / impulsive. But here are some facts about hyperactive or impulsivity type in ADHD. Like I mentioned before, there are 3 types: the attentive type, and kalimutan ko na, the inattentive type pala, sorry. The hyperactive type, impulsive type, and of course the combination type. So it's a combination of both inattentive and hyperactive. But here's some facts about the hyperactive type. This, for first fact, is this subtype of or presentation of ADHD is often detected or often diagnosed with kids. Of course, dahil ito yung mas apparent, no, mas madaling makita as symptoms, no. So mas madaling makita yung pagiging hyperactivity sa mga bata. And also most hyperactive subtypes or ADHD with hyperactive subtype would be boys, because the less of an inattentive type would be girls. But it doesn't mean na kapag girl ka, hindi ka pwedeng magkaroon ng hyperactive type of ADHD. So it's more common and more found in boys versus girls. That's just the first fact about hyperactive type. And of course, another fact about hyperactive type is in adults, it doesn't go away, no? The hyperactivity lessens with age. Tulad ng sinabi ko, nababawasan lang. Sabi nga nila, nagiging internal. So, nai-internalize, no? So, ibig sabihin, because of, the learned decorums or learned behaviors towards school, the people around, and formal settings. So, yung hyperactivity nalilesen kasi mas nagiging more in control yung adult with ADHD. So, it becomes internalized. So, yung hyperactivity mas nakaka-apekto sa pag-iisip, no? Yung mga thoughts, hyperactive thoughts, multiple thoughts at the same time. Sa ibang people with ADHD, they experience that. And of course, sobrang marami pang presentation ng hyperactivity, at least internal hyperactivity with adult ADHD. And of course, there's the restlessness and the impulsivity, no? Because you're always hyperactive. You would always like to be on the go. So you tend to be impulsive, you tend to be restless. So yung signs of hyperactivity transforms into being an impulsivity. So mas nagiging prominent during ADHD adulthood. So there you have it, guys. We discussed about hyperactivity / impulsivity subtype in ADHD. I also shared with you some of my presentations, my symptoms of hyperactivity / impulsivity back in school and adulthood, growing up, and also in at work and during social settings. So I hope you learned something from me today. So if you have any questions, concerns, violent reactions rather, just comment down below or comment however. And again, just a reminder, guys, this podcast is just for educational purposes only. And if you have any questions or concerns or anything that you would like to discuss about your symptoms, make sure, or diagnosis, so make sure you talk to someone, specifically medical professionals like psychiatrists or psychologists who could help you go through the process of managing ADHD. All right? And of course, another reminder, guys, when you deal with people who you feel like have ADHD or at least ADHD symptoms, just be compassionate. It's really difficult managing these symptoms and also managing the expectations, both internal and external. So be compassionate, regardless also if people have mental conditions rather, or without. Just be aware, be aware of what you say and what you do with the people around you. So be compassionate, be more understanding. Sabi nga ni Ate Chrissy, love. So that's my final message for you today. So again, I hope you learned something from me today. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, like my YouTube or podcast channel. So this is Mr. ADHD, now signing off. Till next topic or podcast episode. Bye-bye.